Okay, so before we begin, just a quick note. Mark and I have taken the editorial decision to stop putting in like music and film clips and stuff at the start of the show. It's kind of, it sounds really lazy, but it's just because we're getting the show out like nearly a week after we actually record it at the moment, and it's kind of every little helps with trying to get the show out faster. Now, obviously, it doesn't apply this week because we recorded this last Sunday, the 15th, and I'm only just putting it up on Saturday, the 21st. But hopefully, in the future, considering there's literally going to be about 10 minutes work involved in actually uploading the episode, you'll probably get it quicker. If anyone's particularly disappointed by that, let us know. But I got a feeling you probably won't be. But yeah, it's never been the most polished or produced show, but I like to think it's part of its charm. You may or may not agree with that, but anyway, yeah, I'm editing the show this week, so I thought I'd just put that out there. We might talk about it a bit more on next week's show, I don't know, but anyway, on with the show. I seem to remember it's a good one. Like I say, it was nearly a week ago, so who knows, but here we go. Hello there, and welcome to episode 135 of Dude and a Monkey. My name is Ian Loring, and as always, I am joined by
Mark Foster. Hello, guys.
Yes, and yeah, we're going to get on with it because my fault. We had a minor Lottie-related incident, and then my computer took ages to turn on, so we are starting a bit later than was planned. So this week we are going to be talking about Steve Jobs, the Danny Boyle-directed Oscar. Was a front runner until it opened in the US, and it kind of
disappears.
So who knows what it is now? But we'll be talking about that. We'll also be doing the second part of Ian and Mark play with their lightsabers with episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Got to say thanks to Steve at TGP73 for shutting Mark up on some Force-based logic, which entirely makes sense to me. So
it does. I will hold my hand up as I said. If somebody can send us sort of word of make sense of it, then I will happily concede defeat on that one. And what he says does make sense.
So basically, Darth Maul can't just be like force pushed off that thing because he's strong with the Force himself.
Exactly, yeah. Which makes sense.
There you go.
Sorry.
So we'll be talking about episode 2, Attack of the Clones, in a bit. We'll also do some what we watched and whatnot, but we'll kick it off. Anything generally happening, bud, or shall we trailer talk it?
There was the Shia LaBeouf thing, but we have a question about that, so we'll deal with that later, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Other than that, no, I think it was a pretty quiet week in the world of film, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it seems like stuff's kind of starting, like news is starting to slow down in the run into Thanksgiving and Christmas, so yeah. We're getting into that lovely, lovely time of the year again. Yeah, I don't know. I bought Fallout 4 and I played it for 2 hours and thought, nope, that's not for me. And off that went on eBay. I started playing Shadow of Mordor again. I had been playing that game's very fun. You get to chop off a lot of heads.
That does sound like an alarming amount of fun.
Yeah, no, it's not too shabby. So yeah, but I've actually watched quite a few films this week as well. So we shall get into it. So yeah, trailer talk. Have you got anything on the docket this week, bud?
A couple. I watched the trailer for Finding Dory, and it just well, do you know what it looks like? This is gonna fucking blow your mind. It looks like a sequel to Finding Nemo. I'm not as big a fan as Finding Nemo as many people. This just looks like it's going to be the same story, but with Dory replacing Nemo. So yeah, there's that. The new Red Band, the second Red Band for the night before. It looks like it's going to be fun. Whether or not it can maintain how fun the trailer makes it look for what I'm guessing will probably be about 110 minutes. I have no idea. So there was that. And the final one I watched was, I sent you a picture during the week, I think, a poster actually, for a French film called The Lady in the Car with Glasses and a Gun.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember what I put, but I basically just essentially put that this is incredible. The poster is incredible. It is currently my screensaver on my phone. For anyone who has not seen the poster for this little-known French film, it is essentially like a white background with red letters saying "The Lady in the Car with Glasses and a Gun," which is actually a remake of a 70s film, but it's an incredible title for a film. And then there is an incredibly attractive red-headed lady walking next to it, wearing what just seems to be a coat, heels, and nothing else, carrying a gun.
Julianne Moore 20 years ago.
Yeah, it literally is. And I just went, as soon as I saw that poster, like, I don't care. I don't care. As long as that woman walks looking like that at one point throughout the movie, it will be the greatest movie of the year. And I knew nothing about it. I watched the trailer for it earlier today, and do you know what? Right, there's no speaking at all in the trailer until the last second. It is just a lot of scenes from the film. And after it finished, I thought, I cannot fucking wait to see that movie.
Nice.
So yeah, there was that. Beyond that, nothing really. Is there out that you've watched that you're going to say and I'm going to go, oh yeah,
no, mate,
that as well?
No, I mean, like, the new TV ad for Force Awakens, but, you know, there you go.
Forces are awakening everywhere right now, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was about it, to be honest. I mean, the night before, I'm quite looking forward to it. It kind of looks like, I mean, the story of that film is not just Seth Rogen going off his nut on drugs, is it? Because
no.
So it's kind of weird that the trailer's so heavily focused on that. But I don't know. The baby mouthing "fuck you" to him made me laugh. So
it did me actually.
Yeah. So yeah, why not? And the Finding Dory one, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? But this year we've had Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur is supposed to be not as good as Inside Out, but still pretty solid. So if we got two solid original Pixar films this year, I think I can kind of forgive them Finding Dory next year.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, who knows? It might actually be good.
You never know. Never know.
I mean, like, Pixar have an okay track record with sequels. Like the Toy Story trilogy, fantastic. Cars 2, wretched. Monsters University, you know. So they're kind of halfway for me. So who knows? But yeah, that's it for me as well. Right, that was easy. So let's.
Well, free.
Yeah, man, fucking hell. Let's get into it then. So, Steve Jobs is directed by Danny Boyle and written by Aaron Sorkin and stars Michael F. Fassbender, Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, John Ortiz, Michael Stuhlbarg, Jeff Daniels, the girl from Predestination. It was nice to see her in something. Sarah Snook, I think her name is, which is a fantastic name. Yes. It's kind of is that a spoiler for Predestination? Have you seen Predestination?
Not no.
Oh, okay. The Ethan Hawke time travel-y thingy that the Spirit Brothers put out. I think it was the Spirit Brothers.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that you should watch that. But anyway, yeah. It was
my list.
She's really good in Predestination, and it's cool to actually see her in something big. So good for her. She was the not a big role. She was kind of like the almost like the kind of the stage manager.
Yeah, role. She was very good in it, actually, I thought.
Yeah, she doesn't have much going on there, but when she's like trying to control like shit between him and Seth Rogen towards the end, you know, and she's just being really helpless with it. I thought it was pretty good. But so Steve Jobs is based on the authorised biography by Walter Isaacson, and it's essentially kind of like artificially semi-authentic recreations of like the half an hour or so leading up to a big presentation for Jobs. One in 84, one in 88, and one in 98, I want to say. Yeah. It basically, the through line of it is his relationship with people close to him. So his kind of press secretary, played by Kate Winslet, his daughter, played kind of in varying. I don't want to be disrespectful, so I want to get their names. But also his CEO and then ex-CEO, played by Jeff Daniels. His mate was played by Seth Rogen, and a kind of a chief engineer played by Michael Stuhlbarg. And so his daughter, Mackenzie Moss as a 5-year-old, Ripley Sobo as a 9-year-old, and Perla Haney Jardine as a 19-year-old. there you go. Yeah, and it's basically his interactions with them, and it kind of gives you an insight into the type of man he was. What do you think, Mark?
When it's been a very troubled production, we'll say, Steve Jobs. It's had a couple of directors attached and a couple of actors attached to it. When it's on and when it's good, it's very, very good. There are not that many points where it's particularly bad, but I did come out of it almost feeling a little bit like I'd watched the first 3 episodes of what would be a really fucking good TV series, or miniseries. But there was more. There should have been more to it. It's staged, I think, more like a play than it is a film, which is quite interesting, actually, the way it's actually staged, because essentially you're in 3 different time portals, really. Like you say, the 84, 88, and 98. And you're actually really only in sort of 3 different places. And yes, they might move around ever so slightly within those places, but it's not like we're bouncing around from countries and from different sort of, the Apple campus to his home to blah and blah and blah. There are a few kind of sort of flashbacky scenes in there, but it is quite a sort of contained movie. The only reason why I can figure out why it's bombed is because people have wanted it to bomb. Because underneath it all, there's actually a really, really good film there, to be honest. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, certainly.
Well, personally, I loved it. I didn't feel like it felt like a miniseries at all, so that's interesting.
Not in a negative way, just in a way in the way that when it finished, I was very much going, do you know what? You've kept me incredibly entertained for 2 hours. If you'd thrown another hour at this, easily wouldn't have suffered from it. I would have easily been on board with it.
I agree with that. I mean, I could have watched it for hours, to be honest.
It wasn't I didn't mean it as a negative way. I just felt like, hang on a minute, that was, the performances were that good, the direction is solid and interesting, and the script is fantastic. Why haven't you given me more?
Well, I think I don't know, I think it's slightly hamstrung by its structure, the fact that it is like, it kind of starts when they're needing to actually kind of open the doors and get people in, each section, I mean, and then it kind of goes on there, so it's slightly hamstrung by it like the constraints that Sorkin has actually put into it himself, but I don't know, I mean, the thing is, the through lines in this film feel complete. And it's interesting. Unlike Jobs, the Ashton Kutcher film, I don't really view this as a biopic. It's more just a look into his life where nothing is really concluded. These aren't like the last interactions these people have. That they continue on, like in real life, and I suppose because we knew that in real life, it kind of makes it easier to kind of settle into the fact that nothing's really kind of closed off within the film, whereas if it was a normal narrative film, you might be a little bit like, well, that's just leaving things open-ended, I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Here it's just like, because it was what it was. But I think what it sets out to achieve at the start in terms of its narrative, I think it is accomplished by the end. I like that Boyle doesn't get in the way. I think he shows restraint, but he still puts in his little flourishes when he wants to, like the stuff projected on the walls a couple of times. I quite like that. The lyrics at one point, and then the thing about the shuttle blasting off.
There's also that slanted photography that he does that is quite a Boyleism, I think.
Yes, no, exactly. So, I mean, he gets his kind of things in there as well. I would say it does feel like it maybe was a bit of a journeyman one for Boyle, and it kind of was.
Well, it was. I mean, he's been very distinct by his absence in the PR for it, really. It's, you know, I haven't read that much about it, to be honest, but all I've read from Boyle, essentially, is him saying that he kind of made this film on the rebound for his, Bowie-inspired musical getting knocked back.
Yeah. That made me laugh, by the way. Like, he starts developing a Bowie-inspired musical, but doesn't actually think to ask Bowie if he could get the rights to the music first.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Which, when I read it, I thought that just seems so kind of typical of Danny Boyle, who is, you know, whenever you see him in interviews, he's a great person to have in the British film industry. That isn't a criticism of Danny Boyle. He's a very good filmmaker. There's no getting away from it. And he seems like quite an affable character. You know, when you see him in interviews, he loves film and he loves what he's doing, and he's clearly got that kind of artistic thing. But you do get the idea that he would go, I've got an idea, and write it all down, then somebody's gone to him. Just out of curiosity, Danny, do you know if we can even get the rights to these songs? Oh, it'll be fine, he'll love it, he'll read the script and he'll love it, and it'll be brilliant. And then someone's gone, do you know he's probably not gonna? But yeah, that's all I've seen. Whereas I've seen quite a lot with Sorkin, and it does almost feel a little bit like this is an Aaron Sorkin movie that Danny Boyle has directed.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's fair enough. But I mean, I think it kind of shows that maybe Danny Boyle is maturing a bit. I mean, Trance, I really liked Trance, but that is a film where it does kind of feel like he was just trying to get back to what he was doing in the mid-90s in terms of visuals and trying to be edgy and intense. And
yeah, that did feel like a film that could have been made in 1998.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was based on a TV movie from like earlier, so I wouldn't be kind of surprised there, frankly. But I mean, you know, obviously with Sunshine, Danny Boyle could like be caught fucking a pig, and I'd still love him, you know. So it is what it is there. But I think he does a perfectly solid job. But I don't think it's any surprise that no one's talking about him getting like Best Director nominations or anything like that, you know.
No, yeah, but yeah, but it is a really, like you say, I think the restraint thing's a very good big point about that. It is. He manages to build up tension. This is a film where the majority of the time it is people talking at each other.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, you know, Boyle has to get these performances out of these people, and I think he does that really well. I mean, like Seth Rogen's performance, I thought was wonderfully complicated. Where you've got this like affable guy who kind of just wants everybody to get along, but you know, at the end, it's kind of slightly revealed that he kind of made the fact that he thought of himself as more than Steve Jobs in terms of his ability and whatnot, and he's always been in his shadow. And that final confrontation, I thought, was kind of fascinating, really. And earlier on as well, the free pass thing and the why is it that you give me a free pass? And even though what you know, from Jobs' point of view, you could see why he would say that because of what did actually say in the media, you know. Yeah. So I mean, but then again, you know, the fact that Jobs thinks that was put up to it, and that kind of indicates what he thinks of was. I mean, the power play thing between those two there is really interesting, and you know, I don't think Woz kind of gets off scot-free with it. Like at the end, I didn't think solely, oh, poor Steve Wozniak, because he should have actually been kind of saying this stuff in the years before, where getting the mention for the Apple II team would have actually meant something. I mean, like that last time that he actually asked for that mention, I mean, frankly, I was thinking, why the fuck would Steve Jobs call out that team now at this event for the iMac when you're talking about something from like over a decade ago?
Yeah,
and
something they don't even make anymore. Yeah,
just this weird pride point that I mean, I'm assuming that the idea that he did actually want him to do this back in '98 was true, because otherwise it feels like a weirdly artificial thing to put in, that he's still got this bone to pick with him about this issue still all these years later. So I'm assuming that's just true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Rogan was really fascinating. And I mean, Michael F. Fassbender, I mean, what he's doing here, I mean, no, he doesn't look anything like Steve Jobs, even though in the 98 period, I thought, yeah, you know what, with the glasses and with the thin hair, why not? But I didn't once think for a second that he wasn't Steve Jobs. I thought he pulled it off really well. It didn't feel like he was doing an impression of him. It just felt like he was playing him.
Yeah, it's the thing about Fassbender now is he's so consistently good that you go into it going, do you know what? We're safe with this. We're safe with Fassbender being Steve Jobs. He's going to do at least a very good role, and he does a fantastic role. He's very good. He gets across that kind of that ultimate arrogance and confidence and self-belief, and also, but there's a level beyond it of not only self-belief but belief that he, even when he's wrong, he can convince people he's right.
Yeah, I mean that the whole thing about the being the, like, I play the orchestra. You know, it's such a kind of ephemeral idea, but it makes sense, and it makes sense with this performance here as well. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, even though it's not that much of a part of it, I thought some of the stuff I actually kind of found out about Apple in it was really interesting. The idea of like the closed system of Apple and how that still survives today, and
the stuff like the tools.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean that was fascinating.
When that drops, there's bits where you go, you know, and there's bits around it like that that are wonderful. There's some, you know, the exchanges in this movie are fantastic. There's a magnificent one with Jeff Daniels where they're just before the 88 one there.
And how the long hallway.
Yeah, and how Boyle's building that up with the soundtrack, and how they're just essentially this is two guys just facing off against each other, and one of them knows the power, realizes that the power has shifted during that conversation, that it's shifted and it's moved, and that, you know, that he's started the conversation, sat down thinking he was in control of it and he was going to win this and he was in the power play, and then in the sort of like the motion of a conversation, it flips round, and it even flips round so where Jeff Daniels was sat and where Steve Jobs was stood, they're actually by the end of it at opposite ends, and that power has completely gone. Where he essentially realises he's just played into Jobs' hands and that he's going to destroy him. And he, not only is he going to destroy him, he's not even enjoying it, but he's revelling in it.
Yeah.
It's a really, really fucking great scene, that.
So then, I mean, like when you get the scene between them in the third act, I don't know. I think it kind of says something amazing about the fact that Steve Jobs, for the kind of the arrogant, egotistical prick that he was, you know, he's human and he understands the concept of water under the bridge. So, and he's able to do that with Jeff Daniels, and also because Jeff Daniels is kind of working with him and he kind of admits he's wrong, whereas with Seth Rogen, it's not water under the bridge, it's still festering, won't let it lie. You know, whereas Scully kind of admits, yeah, I was wrong. Even though it made me laugh, though, like Steve Jobs saying, you know, the problem was the stylus.
Yeah.
And now you've got the Apple Pencil.
Yeah, that did make me go. You kind of think that once, and I mean, from Jobs, the everything that you get from him, once an idea was set in his head, no matter what, that's what the idea was. So if his feeling was, we're not going to have that because, and it's the thing that he says, you know, it means you can't use the other 5 that are attached to your wrist. That if somebody in Apple would have said to him, you know, if he was still around, oh, we're going to do this, he'd have gone, what? No. But it's brilliant. No. And he just walked out of the room.
Yeah, no, I mean, the force of personality is incredible. I mean, that early scene where he's threatening Hertzfeld, I mean, that, it's kind of chilling, really, just because it's not like the threat of physical violence. He knows what is the worst thing that he could do, and it's just to say on stage, that broken demo was made by Andy Hertzfeld. It's. I don't know. I just found all that stuff fascinating, but you've got the Sorkin-y exchanges all over there, and kind of like the funny little, like the funny little comments and things like that. But I mean, like also some really like massive kind of dick punches, like Andy Hertzfeld at the end of the film, where he's just like he's saying, "Oh, I always hated you," and like Steve Jobs is like, "That's a shame. I always really liked you."
Yeah.
And it's just. The only way that Steve Jobs can kind of give praise is when he's attacked, and the praise is being used as a form of attack. I mean, it's amazing.
It is. I mean, it's the thing is, it'll open up for people who are sort of beyond vaguely interested in Steve Jobs as a person. The idea that he was a bit of a dick is not news, but to a wider world, it might be a little bit of a news of how much of a dick he had the propensity to be. There is also a side of him where people will say he also had the propensity to be an incredibly nice man. And he wasn't a prick all of the time. He was actually quite a lot of fun some of the time. It's just he could turn. But he seemed to be very well aware of that. There's a great line in the film when he's talking and where he says, it's not that I try to make people dislike me. It's just I don't care whether or not they do.
Yeah. I mean, it's speaking of that. I mean, I rewatched Social Network before this, and the kind of those similarities. I mean, like the whole thing with Mark Zuckerberg, he's told at the beginning, you're going to go through life thinking people don't like you because you're a nerd, and it's not. It's because you're an asshole. And then at the end, Rashida Jones says to him, "You're not an asshole, Mark. You just really want to make people think you are."
Yeah, and
I mean the similarities between the two. I mean between the two characters is really, really telling, and it feels. It's kind of weird that Sorkin's done Steve Jobs because he also did the Social Network.
It is, yeah, and the fact is that he went into both of them knowing very, very little about he said he knew very little about Mark Zuckerberg, and he said that when he went into Steve Jobs that he knew very little about Steve Jobs. It's more the. It was more the ideas and the structures that attached him to it. And I saw an interview with him, where he was saying that the reason why Steve Jobs fascinated him was because he created the idea of these products, and the fact that people get so passionate about these products, these disposable things. And he said, the strange thing is, he said, I have an iPad, I have a Mac, and I have an iPhone. I am never not in my life without an Apple product. He said, and the simple fact is, I couldn't care less that these are Apple products, but for some reason, not only do people really, really care that these are Apple products, you've got the other side of that, and you've got people who really, really care that other people like Apple products to the point of where they despise Apple products because of it. And this guy created that. That's what he did. He created this almost cult of Apple. Is incredible.
Yeah, no, quite. I mean, that's the interesting thing. I mean, this film's not really very concerned with talking about how people loved Steve Jobs or anything like that.
No.
It's about the man himself, and I mean there is some tech talk there, but I don't know. It's more about relationships, which and it makes him seem more human and whole as a result, I think. And I got to say as well, I mean, all his interactions with the girls who played Lisa, I thought were great. I mean, like really quite touching. I thought.
Chiefly, I think the first ones when she's 5.
Yeah, I mean, like you can. I mean, like obviously it didn't actually happen like this, but the way that like her playing with the computer is the thing that kind of unlocks the key to his heart or something. I really liked that, and I've got to say, when he gives her the printout of that picture at the end, I did actually tear up a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was a really, really nice moment, and I mean, I think there's a sense of artificiality to quite a lot of it, but I think that the staginess of it kind of makes you more okay with that.
Absolutely, yeah. I thought those interactions were great. I thought his interactions consistently with Kate Winslet's character were fantastic as well. I think you mentioned it. Her flickering accent was a little bit.
Apparently, that's based on real life.
All right.
That's what Brad tells me. Brad Porter, friend of the show. Kind of friend.
He's a friend.
Yeah, he's a friend. He said that apparently it was like in later life, for some reason, her accent became more pronounced. Even though, again, also apparently in real life, she wasn't even around for the 98-bit.
Oh.
So again, it's just, and I mean, like her key kind of role in the 98-bit is to kind of like cajole him into interacting with his daughter. So in a way, I suppose that kind of weirdly makes sense, but it certainly doesn't feel like she's just been artificially popped in there. So it's like the artifice of the film, I think it's all forgivable for me for one reason or another, and that's probably because I liked the film so much.
Do you know why I forgive it completely for those? Yeah. Because the mistake that you can make is going into this film is thinking that you are going to watch a Steve Jobs biopic. It's not a Steve Jobs biopic. It's not a film that tells you the story of Steve Jobs' life. It's a film that gives you essentially 3 snapshots and saying, look, this is what moulded, this man. This event here, getting knocked on his ass. This event here where he essentially tricked everybody into getting back into Apple.
That conversation between him and Kate Winslet when he kind of reveals that. That was amazing.
Yep, and then the third one is him, the start of him essentially being there and going, do you know what? I've cracked it. What I intended to do 14 years ago, I've cracked now. And that computer was the start of where Apple is now.
Yeah.
It was what gave him the finances and the confidence and the ability to use his bravado to essentially go, we're going to make an iPod. And then, the fucking stratosphere opened for Apple. They became, the fucking biggest company of all time. There's no getting away from it. Their brand worth, I think there's something insane. I read a thing where Forbes did a thing where they calculated the brand worth of the top 10 companies in the world. And if you took numbers 10 to 2 and added them all together, number 2 was Microsoft.
Yeah.
Took them and added them together, you still wouldn't get Apple's brand worth.
And they don't even sell people's data. They don't even make money through that.
And
it's just hardware and software. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. They don't actually even sell that many products.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, they don't sell that many products. Not when you consider, I think, Nike were about number 6 or 7 on that. And when you think about the sheer amount of products that Nike sell, and then you put it up against something like Apple, Nike probably sell more socks or sweatbands, different types, than Apple sell products.
Sure. Yeah.
Yet there is not a single Nike product in my house, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Apple products.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's 3 Apple products in my house, and I'm the only Apple user in the house.
It's insane. I've had every iPhone, and I despised the first iPhone.
That's the thing, like, I only moved over to iPhone last year, and I'm never going back. I mean, like, Apple would have to do something insane to get me to switch back to Android now. And, like, the thing is, the Apple tax, I'm okay with it, which is weird. Because why should you be?
I'm fine with it. I bought an Apple TV, and I quite simply use it as a media streaming device. But do you know what? It works spectacularly. For what I use it for. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know what it is about Apple. I mean, this is a bit of a tangent, but it's stupid shit. Like, I don't know, like the way magazines work on iPad that just don't work like that on Android. And I mean, like the way that Apple TV, like the Siri thing versus Chromecast. You know, a Chromecast is great and it's cheap. But Apple TV is better, yeah, but it's also £100 more. You know, so it just, I don't know. I think Apple, but apart from Maps, do everything just as well as, if not better than Google. And yes, it costs more, but it is also better.
Yeah, but do you know what? The Chromecast, right, looks like that if I accidentally, I don't know, dropped it or something like that, it'd break. Whereas the Apple TV box looks like I could attack somebody with it and then still be able to use it afterwards.
Oh man, you could. I think you could like bash somebody's head in.
You could quite literally, if somebody was trying to steal your Apple TV, you could get it off them first, smash their face in repeatedly, and then sit back down and watch a film while you're waiting for the police to arrive.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah.
And it'd be fine. Whereas I think if you did that with a Chromecast, it'd split. There'd be like brains and stuff. It'd be awkward. You'd get stabbed before you'd kill them.
I think it's definitely what Steve Jobs was thinking about.
Well, yeah, clearly, home safety.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, I think we've come to the end of this review. So I'm definitely not shit. It will be in my top 10 this year. Even though I will say I'm finding less 5 out of 5s this year than in previous years.
Yeah, but I think we've said this previously. I've said that there's been, I think we said this not last year, but the year before, where we said there's been a lot of kind of 4 out of 5.
Yeah, a shitload of 8 and 9 out of 10.
Yeah, but there's only 5. But we're getting into. But then again, we are actually in the 3rd week of November. So you know, I think we were saying that this time, not last year, the before, in sort of September time. But now we're into sort of November. I mean, I will say, yeah, it's definitely not shit. It will be trouble in my top 10 of the year. I would say as well. It's also it fucking flies by.
Oh yeah. I couldn't believe it was 2 hours long.
Yeah, I couldn't. It it absolutely pedalled past. I checked I didn't check my watch. I checked my phone, which I hate doing. But luckily there was nobody else in my screening. So, but I did check my phone to see what time it was, and there was 45 minutes left, and I thought that maybe half an hour had gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of what I've actually given a 5 out of 5 this year. Spring. Sicario?
Sicario probably got a 5 out of 5 for me, as did Mad Max.
Mad Max, Inside Out. Okay, I've got 5 out of 5 so far.
That's not bad then.
And I mean, like, I'm assuming The Hateful Eight will be a 5 out of 5. The Martian, I'd quite like to watch again, because I wonder if that might go up from a 9 to a 10. I really like The Martian.
I really like The Martian, actually, yeah. But I want to rewatch Rogue Nation.
Yeah, man, that's on iTunes next week. I am very looking forward to giving that a rewatch because
It's on iTunes next week.
Next Monday it comes on iTunes.
Yeah, I might be tempted by that as an iTunes purchase.
Got some extras as well, actually. So The Man from U.N.C.L.E. might sneak.
Well, I rewatched Man from U.N.C.L.E. And it's still ridiculously entertaining.
That
and a lot of fun.
Film is really good. Yeah, I mean, I've got 5 out of 5s at the moment, and before the end of the year, we will do Hateful Eight. Star Wars for me, maybe, actually, to be fair, but we'll see. God, what else have we got?
The Revenant's not till next year, is it?
Yeah, The Revenant comes out, like, the week after we'll do our top 10 of the year.
There's not that much out yet for the end of this year, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
what
are we actually going to be reviewing before the end of this bloody year,
then? There'll be...
You've got In the Heart of the Sea, which looks really good. I'm really looking forward to that. The Ron Howard one.
That's the last weekend of the year,
isn't
it?
Yeah, it's out on Boxing Day.
There's also, obviously, there's the Star Wars. We'll also be reviewing The Night Before, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we'll do The Night Before.
We're going to be reviewing Love next week, aren't we?
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a 5 out of 5.
I don't know because of my absolute love for Gaspar Noé films.
Yeah, so, we'll see.
Enter the Void, I think, was a 5 out of 5 for me. I absolutely adored that movie.
Carol, I'm hearing really good things about. That's out the week after. The Kate Blanchett, Rooney Mara one. I mean, the Blanchett factor is probably meaning it won't be a 5 out of 5 for you, but
I'm willing to give it a go.
Oh, Krampus.
Yeah, I'm not as sold as the people.
I don't know. I mean, it's directed by the guy who did Trick or Treat, so
that is a good point.
I've got hope there. So yeah, I mean, we've got. I like In the Heart of the Sea. I've just got a slow burn good feel on that one.
Yeah, it's almost like that could be the one that could sneak up and kind of surprise everybody as being a film that nobody really is going, because everybody at the moment is just going Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. There's nobody at the moment going, ooh, there's that Moby Dick film coming out.
Like, that fucker is out on Boxing Day, and I'm really looking forward to kind of like the in between Christmas and New Year period, just like checking that out and just like bathing in it for a couple of hours, you know.
I will probably go and see that, to be honest, probably on Boxing Day.
I might, the Boxing Day or the 27th, I think I might take myself out to go see it, yeah, for sure.
I might even go out, all three of us go out, me, Bex and Isabel go out to see that and then go for something to eat or something like that.
Nice.
Mainly just so I can go and see it and have an excuse.
No, fair enough. But yeah, so no, I mean, well, yeah, there we go. So obviously, top 10 of the year stuff's going to be like coming up, but it's going to be an interesting list. But anyway, right, let's move on and do some what we've been watching. So do you want to kick us off, Mark?
Yeah, I'll go with I'll do a couple, then I'll let you do a couple, then I'll come back and do a couple. I watched the 1995 Sandra Bullock film, The Net, the other day. And was kind of saying to Bex, you know, I was scrolling through looking for something to watch, and came across The Net. And jokingly said to Becky, do you want to watch The Net? And she responded straight away with, yes.
And then you had to go with it.
I absolutely did, and I was like, shit. And then I was thinking, God, how bad and how dated is this movie going to be? You know, because it's 20 years old, and it's a movie quite literally about the internet. And you know what? It's not actually dated that badly. The technology manages to feel very much of its time. So although at the time it's not doing anything too futuristic at the time, the Net. Everything it's doing is essentially what was around then. And the idea of the story is, you've seen The Net, I'm guessing, haven't you? Yeah. So for anybody who hasn't seen The Net, Sandra Bullock plays she's like a computer programmer, who essentially is sent, programs, software, disks, anything like that have bugs or problems in, and her job is to, find that bug, that problem, and eradicate it, and then send it back. She works from home because, of course, it's the internet, so that's wonderful. And so nobody in her office has ever actually met her. They've only ever spoke to her either online or over the phone. She is about to take a long-earned holiday when a disc arrives, and she's asked to look at it. When she looks at it, she realises that it's got all this code starts flashing up and all these things start flashing up, and then she's got to work out what it is. But she's going to do it when she gets back from her holiday. While she's on holiday, somebody essentially honey traps her and tries to take the disc and tries to kill her for what she might have seen on the disc, and then basically changes her entire life by replacing her with somebody else, so everybody thinks that she's not who she is, that she's somebody else, and she's got a clearer name. It's a lot of fun, actually, to be honest. I quite enjoyed it. It's a nice kind of flashback into, you know, that era of sort of CGI action films where the threat of cyber terror was still sort of very much alive and very much an alien thing and this exotic thing that was going to happen in the future, and, you know, what was going to happen to all of our information and everything like that. And, you know, there's a great moment where she's ordering pizza online and it's like, fucking wow. And now, when you look at it, you know, if a company doesn't let you order pizza online, it's probably fucking a little bit shady and you shouldn't order it. It's kind of got like that. But it's a good kind of look back into the early days of before everybody had a PC and before, you know, you had essentially a computer in your pocket at all times. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot to enjoy. I remember talking about Disclosure that I watched last year or earlier on this year, and that has sort of they're working for software companies there, and that is a sexual politics in the workplace film, but the technology in that has aged horribly. Whereas in this movie, which is a movie about the internet that's called The Net, hasn't actually aged that bad. So I was quite surprised on that.
Fair enough. I'm rather surprised by that as well. You should watch Hackers next.
Yeah, actually, I might. I have a feeling that will have aged terribly. But then again, I did think about The Net, and I was actually quite surprised as, well, no, they're using floppy disks, they're using code, they're using these things, but they're not talking about it like it's futuristic. They're talking about it as if it is the things that they can do with computers now, and they're talking about the things that we'll be able to do with computers in 20 years' time, but also, you know, the alarming points about computers, for all of our information being stored there is still an issue now.
Yeah. Fair play. I mean, good on you for watching it.
Another one I watched last night, which is a film from this year, is American Ultra.
Okay, sure.
Directed by Nima.
The cunt who directed Project X.
Well, okay. And written by Max Landis, who, yes, is John Landis' son.
Can I just say, if people hear Lottie in the background and I just said the C word, she's downstairs, she's just being quite loud, sorry.
Stars Jesse Eisenberg, Kirsten Stewart, Topher Grace, Connie Britton, Walton Goggins, John Leguizamo, and Bill Pullman. Literally blink and you'll miss him, Bill Pullman. If you've seen the trailer, that's pretty much what it's about. Jesse Eisenberg plays a stoner who lives in a small town with his girlfriend, played by Kirsten Stewart, who also is a little stoner, and then he's activated and you find out he's like a super agent who can do all of these things, but he's still a stoner, and all these people are trying to kill him, but he's a stoner, and so he can do all of these things, but he can't understand it because he's a stoner. And that's about kind of it, really. If American Ultra was anywhere near as smart or funny or cool or hip or anything as it thinks it is, it would quite simply be the greatest film ever made. Instead, it looks like shit. The script is fucking there's moments where it goes, we got you, and you go, no, you didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
No, you didn't. The makeup is fucking hideous, which is something that should never be said about a movie. That there's points where you look at it going, oh my god, what have you done there? It just looks weird. The performances are everybody just looks like everybody looks like they're having too much fun with it, but not in a fun way, in a, oh, look at what I'm doing kind of way. It's Jesse Eisenberg, who can sometimes come across as being a little bit too smug, and a little bit like he thinks he's better than everybody else. And when he does that, it's very easy to dislike him. And he does that a lot in this movie. Yet you're supposed to really kind of get behind him and like him, when in actual reality, you don't really. The person who you like probably most in the movie is Topher Grace, and he's the bad guy.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, the action set pieces are pretty crappy. It goes way too over the top, and essentially, it feels a little bit, I don't know, like somebody at a studio owed John Landis a favour and went, can you just fucking make my kids' movie? You owe me. Make my kids' movie.
Well, he also came out, after it bombed in the US, he came out and said, you just can't get anything original made anymore, and now it's all superhero films and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a bit like, well, no, why didn't... It would help if you wrote a film that was apparently good and maybe it made money. Because you know what? You wrote Chronicle. Chronicle was good and it made money.
Yeah.
You know...
Did you write the story for Chronicle?
Sorry?
Did he write the whole script for Chronicle, or was it just the story he wrote?
Screenplay.
Yeah, but yeah, the screenplay for this is brutal. It's terrible. He very much, I don't know, and all I know about this kid is the fact that he wrote, this and Chronicle. But it wouldn't surprise me if on the set he did utter the, yes, he did write the screenplay. It was, he wrote the story with Josh Trank. Okay. It wouldn't surprise me if he, at any point, he actually did say the words, do you know who my dad is?
He's a cunt as well. He is
he?
On Twitter. He's rather misogynist.
Oh my god, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I don't know, I've seen some tweets from him which have made me feel a bit sick in the past. And
it's when the best thing about your film is there's a good scene with Walton Goggins. That's about it. When the best thing about your film is John Leguizamo essentially just turning up and being John Leguizamo, when that is the best thing about your film, you should be really fucking worried, because he's in it for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and the rest of the time we're supposed to get behind Jesse Eisenberg, who quite literally just goes like that all of the time. It's a piece of shit of the highest order, and I cannot understand for the life of me anyone would like it. It's crap.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not going near it.
Don't. Yeah, I'll let you go, because I've got a couple of other ones. One which is really fucking surprising.
Oh, okay, all right, interesting. Okay, so I briefly mentioned I watched The Social Network, and it's The Social Network. And I watched Chicken Run today because I just stuck on something on Netflix for Lottie to stare at for a bit, and I ended up just watching the whole thing, and she went to sleep. I rather like Chicken Run. There's not much to say about it. It's just it's quite fun. There's some solid visual gags and like corny jokes, as is the Aardman thing, and it's fun. It's like 80 minutes, so the first thing I'm going to properly talk about, I've got 3 to talk about in some detail, so I'll do 2 now and then 1 at the end. So Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is kind of like a bit of an indie darling this year, but I don't think it did too much at the box office. But I'd say it's worth checking out. Basically, story is you got this, pardon me, this kid who, the me of the title, who is getting through high school life, and he's got a thing where he kind of like, he's slightly in with all the crowds, but not fully in with one of them. So it's like everybody kind of likes him, but generally just kind of leaves him alone. And he and his friend Earl, just kind of like during their lunch breaks, will sit in their history teachers, their sociology teachers' classroom and watch Werner Herzog films, and they make shitty remakes, like Sweded remakes of Criterion Collection films, complete with like illustrated artificial Criterion covers and things like that, which is kind of interesting. And basically, the me of the title starts having a friendship with Rachel, played by Olivia Cook, the dying girl of the title. And she's got leukemia, and it's basically them striking up a friendship and her meeting Earl, and it kind of goes on from there. I mean, I really liked it. One complaint that I do have is that by the end, it kind of feels weirdly dismissive of the dying girl. It is all about the lead guy. And Olivia Cook's performance is strong, and the screenplay gives her enough to do that it doesn't feel like she's just the unattainable object or anything like that. But it's kind of weird how it kind of resolves itself as everything kind of being in service of him. It left a slightly bad taste in my mouth, which I really don't think there was supposed to be. But it is genuinely funny. It's very sweet. The direction is top notch. The director knows when to go with the quirky and when to just leave it. And this could be indie schmindy bollocks, but it's not.
That's good. That was my worry about it.
It straddles the line quite well. There's one scene where it's kind of a locked off take, a rather intense conversation between the me and the dying girl that kind of just evolves into something tense, and the camera doesn't move, and just the placing of the two, and like no like music in the background. It's really, really well done. It does have the tang of a first time filmmaker. I really, really like my Wes Anderson type stuff. But I think it gets away. It gets away with it by not being all quirk all the time. It's not Submarine, which is a film that I think I liked Submarine, but I kind of think it was sank by just how much Richard Ayoade liked Wes Anderson.
Submarine is one of those films where I really liked it when I watched it. I never want to watch it again.
Yeah, no, I've got no interest. And it feels like already nobody talks about Submarine. It was like the hot film for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then no one's ever talked about it again or something. But yeah, and Nick Offerman's in it as the lead guy's dad, and I don't know, he's Nick Offerman kind of being Nick Offerman, which I'm okay with. So yeah, that's all I've really got to say on that. It's worth a go, I'd say.
Ah, cool.
But $8 million budget, and it only did $6 million in the US.
And they did a few million worldwide. I think it's made back its production budget. I'd say. Yeah,
that's okay. Okay, and I will move on. And The Falling. So The Falling, this is directed by Carol Morley, who directed Stories of a Life, which was quite a kind of a hot, slight semi-fictional, semi-documentary thing a couple of years back. So yeah, this has been getting a fair bit of notice. It kind of feels like one of those ones that's going to do well at the British Independent Film Awards, and everybody's going to congratulate it there, and then that's going to be it, and no one's ever going to talk about it again. Story is Maisie Williams and Florence Pugh play best friends in a kind of an all-girls school. Florence Pugh is a good-looking girl who knows she's good-looking and kind of flaunts it, and Maisie Williams is the slightly more kind of dowdy, younger-looking friend who kind of envies her friend. Stuff happens, and Florence Pugh's character dies, and then the girls at the school start doing these weird things where they kind of start dancing and then fainting, and then one of the teachers starts doing it, and the question is something supernatural going on, maybe connected to the death of Florence Pugh's character, or are these just a bunch of hysterical girls led by a girl played by Maisie Williams who maybe should know better? It's basically like Picnic at Hanging Rock meets Black Narcissus.
All right.
But very shrill. I will say, I watched it on a sick day from work where I just had stomach ache. And it was a weird sick day because I wasn't throwing up and I wasn't having diarrhea. My stomach just hurt. So watching The Falling, which is a very idiosyncratic montages of girls doing trippy dancing and then falling with loud, like, floral music in the background. It kind of feels like if Florence and the Machine got really drunk and decided to soundtrack something.
It sounds horrible. Honestly, it's just, what you're describing just makes me go, it sounds fucking horrible.
The thing is, I'll give it a mild recommend because it gets the air of hysteria quite well. And there are a couple of the girl characters in it, the kind of the more level-headed ones, who are just, like, basically go through the whole film just going like, this is bollocks, stop it. You're being a bunch of twats, basically. And I quite enjoyed that. But the thing is, can I spoil it?
Yeah, fuck it.
Okay. So, Maisie Williams' character, her mum, like, just doesn't ever step outside. She just, she's a complete agoraphobe and just always stays inside. And throughout the whole film, Maisie Williams is kind of having a go at her for, like, not being there and never going outside and blah, 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 blah. And Williams, it, basically starts all this fainting bollocks because she wants attention. And all the other girls start doing it because they essentially want attention as well. So, Maisie Williams' character is a twat.
Yep.
And at the end, it's revealed that the reason why the mum doesn't go outside and why the mum is disconnected with her is because she was the victim of a rape and the attacker impregnated impregnated the mum, and Maisie Williams looks like the attacker. And and at the end of it, you get this revelation, and it's like, what's that got to do with the dancing and the falling? And what does she do after? She runs off, climbs up a tree, falls into a pond, and then her mum gets her out of the pond, and they have a cry. And the thing is, I gave it 3 out of 5, and thinking about it, I've got no fucking reason why I gave it 3 out of 5. Because it's as annoying, and as just kind of bollocks, as I'm saying it is. But, okay, it did, the atmosphere struck me, and there are moments through the film that got my attention, but Maisie Williams' character is an idiot, and by the end, I didn't get any real sense that there had been any growth there, or any journey. It was just, she's a twat at the start, she's a twat at the end, and I felt really sorry for her mum for having to put up with it.
Yeah, you're not selling it to me.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's like, one of the, I don't know, but it's been really, really really praised.
Yeah, that's because it's got Maisie fucking Williams in it.
I do have to wonder.
It is. There's no getting away from it. It's got Maisie fucking Williams in it, and because she's apparently, as I understand, very good in what is it, and she speaks very well about things and stuff like that. That she's hot shit right now. So any film that has her in, and fuck it, any British-made film that has her in it that happens to be a period piece, fucking hell, the people will lap that shit up. That's the reason why people are fucking going on about it.
I will say, Florence Pugh is very good. She's only in it for about the first half hour or so, but you could see why she's the girl that that is the centre of gravity, through like personality and looks as well. And I mean, I don't know how old she is actually. I'm going to have a look at how old she is in real life, but there's a couple of sex scenes with her, so I'm assuming she's
of
age. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't bloody say on IMDb, but she's a striking looking girl. It's not, I want to fuck the shit out of her kind of thing. She's a good looking girl. But she's also nice and charismatic, and you get that sense why someone would want to be with her in whatever sense. But she gets taken out of the picture, and then the lead is Maisie Williams, and I'm not a massive fan of Maisie Williams. I don't know. I find her quite one note, chip on her shoulder.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that one.
And yeah, so it's not great.
To be honest, I find the vast majority of the cast of what's it, Game of Thrones to be that. To be honest.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's why I don't fucking watch it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the thing is, Carol Morley's direction, I think, is actually all right, even though there's about a 20-minute period where it feels like all it is music playing while girls just randomly faint.
Yeah, it just fucking sounds horrible.
I kind of want you to watch it.
I kind of want to watch it now, but I know that I would go, why?
But yeah, that's The Falling. I've only got one other to do, but I mean, if you want to do yours.
I'll throw mine out there. They won't actually take that long.
Actually, sorry. I will just say, sorry, I'm just going to do it. Back in Time, the Back to the Future documentary. Everything Mike said on Chin Stroker versus Punter, I agree with. It's not great. It's all over the place. It's really messy. I didn't learn all that much. It was kind of a waste of time. There, done.
Cool. I rewatched Quantum of Solace. Wanted to rewatch it before I saw Spectre, but didn't. Cause quite simply didn't get a chance. But then I had a day off on Friday, midweek day off on Friday. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch Quantum of Solace. Because unlike everybody else on the planet, I actually remember quite enjoying Quantum of Solace. So I thought I'm going to rewatch it to see if actually that I was mad and it was actually a terrible movie, and that I've remembered certain elements of it more favourably than others have. No, I really, really like Quantum of Solace. I honestly cannot see fucking people's problem with it. It's Bond on a little bit of a revenge mission, being a bit fucking moody. Whilst people tell him he's being moody, and he goes, I'm not being moody. I'm fine. Whilst all the time he knows I'm being moody. It literally is, which is what people who are going through what he's going through are gonna be like. It's a very good, I think, accompanied piece to Spectre, in the terms of, you've got the first one he's this cocksure new agent, and then you've got this one where he gets broken. He's essentially broken at the end of Casino Royale, and this is him being broken, and essentially he's got a mission, but it's become a fucking revenge mission for him, just because he's got that latest skill that we spoke about within Spectre. And then you've got Skyfall, where it takes another fucking kick with the death of M, and then Spectre is the outfall of all of that. But yeah, it looks great. It sort of sweeps around different venues. It ticks along, I personally think, at a nice pace. There's some great kind of moments of that Bond levity that we spoke about, that Spectre didn't have as much as something like Casino Royale did, where you've got the great moment where he's essentially comforting Vesper. There's a couple of moments in this. I still think that the moment where Mattis has been shot and Bond essentially is just holding him while he dies.
Yeah, in the street, yeah.
And then he picks him up and throws him in a dumpster. And then Gang says, is that how you treat your friends? And it's just he wouldn't mind. His response is he wouldn't mind. But you can see within Daniel Craig's performance that is another thing that is adding to this rage that is building within him, that's going on there. And it's, again, it all filters back through to the driving force behind this current sort of incarnation of Bond is how good I think Daniel Craig's performances of Bond are. I think he's fantastic in this film. It's another crap villain. Dominic Green is not a great villain at all. It's quite amusing watching Matthew Almeric waving an axe around and essentially just screaming wildly as Bond is just kind of going, what? Hang on a minute. And all I was thinking throughout that was, this is a little bit like if James Bond was having a fight with Arnie Ziff.
Yeah, that's very, yeah. I mean, the most intimidating thing about Matthew Almeric is his eyeballs.
Yeah, it is that. And once I saw that, I thought, oh god, he's just Arnie Ziff now, in my head.
Oh, that's good. Redubbing with John Roberts' voice.
Yeah, it is, but I still really like Quantum of Solace. I think it's a great film, which has now made me go, do you know what? I've watched Skyfall 3 times, and I don't get it. I don't get the love for it. And I'm now at the point where I'm going, do you know what? I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to give it one last go to kind of to win me over as the only person on the fucking planet who doesn't think it's magnificent, and see if it's just caught me in the wrong moods occasionally. So I'm going to give Skyfall a go this week to see how it goes. The other film I watched this week was, I watched it because it was 86 minutes long.
That's always good.
And I needed to watch something that was under 90 minutes because I started watching it at about 11 o'clock at night. And I watched it just because I happened to scroll past it and go, my missus is a huge Stephen King fan.
It sounds like you're making excuses for something, but
I am.
Okay.
I am. Absolutely. My missus is a huge Stephen King fan, and I came across a film that's called You Can't Kill Stephen King. And it's a comedy horror movie from 2012, directed by 3 guys, 2 of them are in it. This is the story, right? You've got a guy called Monroe, who is one of the guys who directed it, and a girl called Hillary, who are brother and sister, and they discovered they've inherited a lake house from their grandparents, and they're going to go with their friends, who is Monroe's on-off girlfriend, her friend who is, guess what, a little bit kind of slutty, their token black friend, and their other friend who only Monroe actually likes, who is a massive Stephen King fan, who's only going because the town that the lake house is in is the town that Stephen King apparently lives in, and he thinks he might get to meet Stephen King. Right? They go there, and they each keep on getting picked off in ways that are written in Stephen King books.
Right, okay.
Right?
That actually sounds interesting.
Now, I watched this and said to Beth, look, we'll give it a go, because it sounds like shit. It sounds like a terrible comedy horror movie, but it's only like 86 minutes long, which means it's 80 minutes before credits. So how bad can it really be? It's actually really quite good, actually. It starts off with a girl running, wearing nothing but a ripped t-shirt and a pair of underpants, and then she stops, screams at the camera, and then gets hit in the face with a spade. And then we're introduced to the six characters. Six characters. Where it introduced them and then throws up a title card that explains who they are. But it explains that they are just stereotypes from horror movies. And that kind of ticks along throughout this. It plays on, Stephen Kingisms, it plays on sort of constant horror tropes and the stupidity of horror and all that, but in not a we're so much better than this and look at this kind of way. It's more in a very much a playful kind of nudge, get it? Guess what's going to happen? For instance, when they get to, they have to rent a boat to get across to the lake house. They stop, get out of the car, and all the girls go, "Oh my god, a creek!" and just start running towards it, throwing off their clothes. And nobody bats an eyelid at this. And there's little bits that go on throughout that are just like that throughout the film. And I'm going to say it's a recommend, to be honest, because it's a lot of fun. If it was anything more than 80 odd minutes, I'd be saying don't bother. But it's not.
Where'd you find
It's a lot of fun. I absolutely didn't find it on a torrent site. I can tell you that now.
All right, fair enough.
It is, honestly, I was surprised. It's a 3 to 3.5 out of 5 is what I'd say to it, which for a comedy horror is not bad going.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'd say that's actually not bad going at all.
No, especially one that was made for how little this looks like it was made for, but it still looks quite nice.
Okay.
Right, go on then, give us your last one.
No, it was back in time, I'm done.
Oh, it's back in time. Oh, right, cool. Oh, okay, then let's have the fun begin then.
Okay. It's Marc and Ian play with their lightsabers time, and it is episode 2, Attack of the Clones, again written and directed by George Lucas, starring Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, Frank Oz, Christopher Lee, who else? Is that it? I mean, that's...
Oh, there's loads of people in
Rose Byrne's in it.
Rose Byrne's in it, Jimmy Smits is in it.
Jimmy Smits is in it, yeah, of course he is. Jar Jar's in it for 2 minutes.
Joel Edgerton is in it.
Joel Edgerton's in it, yeah. Yeah. And episode 2 basically sees, like a decade's passed. Annie is no longer Annie, he's Anakin. He's played by Hayden Christensen. He wants to fuck Padme real bad.
Yep.
And he has to wear her down by sounding whiny. But there is a mystery going on, and Obi-Wan, played by Ewan McGregor, is dispatched to find out who is trying to kill Padme / Amidala / what is she actually called? Seriously, what is her name?
Senator Padme Amidala.
Is she actually Padme Amidala? So, sometimes they're calling her by her first name, sometimes her last name. Is that it?
Yeah.
Right, okay, fine. So, Obi-Wan is sent off to try and work out who's planning on who's trying to kill Amidala. Leads him to the planet of Geonosis, where he discovers that a clone army has been raised for the Republic, despite the Republic not actually knowing really anything about it. Episode 2. Mark.
You're going to struggle to argue this is a good film.
No, I'm not. Okay, well, I'm going to put it out there. It's not. It's a very bad film.
It's a terrible film. It's a fucking terrible, 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 terrible film. It is quite simply one of the most boring things I have ever had the displeasure of watching. I cannot believe it actually has a scene where Senator Armadillo and fucking Annie fucking Skywalker frolic in a fucking meadow. In a fucking meadow. It's a terribly dull, badly written, it is ugly as fuck movie. How can somebody have this much money and this much freedom make something this bad that people are still excited about? It is horrible.
But the thing is, I think
it's horrible.
No, I'm not arguing that. I think the reason why people are excited about Episode 7, a lot of it is because Lucas is not involved in the slightest. Apparently, Lucas had some story ideas that were just flat out rejected. Like,
good.
Lucas is no longer... He is completely no longer a part of Lucasfilm. They don't have to do anything that he wants them to do, and it looks like they're not. He's very conspicuous by his absence in marketing and PR and whatnot. It is just Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm. You know, she was Steven Spielberg's producer for like decades, and he did all right. So it's not in his hands now. And it's films like Episode 2 that make you think, thank fuck.
Yeah, it is. It's a mess.
Yeah, I mean,
this movie.
I mean, the thing is, Hayden Christensen, his performance here, which has got to be him directed, because he's not that bad.
He's so emo.
Elsewhere. No, yeah. But also, how Amidala falls for him through this film is a complete mystery. Like, there's a scene where he's talking about how we just murdered a bunch of people.
Yeah. In cold blood.
Yeah. And then she's all like, yeah, I want to do you so bad.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know, you were upset. He's a terrible Jedi.
Yeah, he's a really bad Jedi. There's no sense of him ever being likable. His mood shifts all over the place.
He's creepy.
Yeah, he's very creepy.
You get the feeling that if Princess Senator Armadillo didn't put out, he'd have raped the fuck out of her.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the thing is, with Episode 3, there's a whole kind of like the crushing inevitability of it all, which comes into it. But with this, it's just, you don't see how she'd fall for him.
Mm.
You just don't. Tell me this, did you like Ewan McGregor anymore in this one?
I did, actually,
okay.
yeah. I did. I thought he came... Maybe it's because he didn't have that stupid Padawan hair thing that I'm guessing is like a thing they have to have while they're Padawans. I liked him a little bit more in this. I still think his Alec Guinness impression, it grates on me a lot, because it does sound like an impression. But I kind of got more of... I got his character a little bit more. He seemed a little bit more real than essentially a bit of a cartoon character, which he seemed like in the first one. He was... The moments with him were a little bit... were the better moments of it.
I liked his... I like his little detective story.
Mm.
Even though I like how the Geonosis people like just tell him everything, even though he's like, so what was my master's name?
Yeah, why did I come here? And he's like, yes, well that is why I came.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, which is. I mean, it's just the worst. But I mean, I like the scene where all the Jedi come down and help in that pit thing.
Yeah, sorry, that is literally people moving their arms from side to side. And it just, lightsabers seem to have no fucking meaning at all. You could just do whatever you want, and it will hit anything.
I like the look of some of the Jedi. I think the kind of the different races, there's some interesting ideas there. I mean, seriously, it's not a good film. It is for me, by a country mile, the worst of all of the films. by a
all of them
country
ever.
mile.
Not just Star Wars movies.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I like the Ewan McGregor plot. I like the space bomb things that kind of like just explode and then go. Yeah, I like those. I'm damning with faint praise here. I mean, the Yoda Christopher Lee fight is one of the weirdest fucking things. It's just CG Yoda versus stuntman Christopher Lee.
Yeah, and it very much by that point I was like, oh, look at him, he can barely walk, and in a few seconds, oh, he's going to be zipping about and dancing around with the fucking lightsaber, and then he'll be back onto the, hobbling around bit, which is just bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's bullshit.
I get that. I like the score as well. I mean, again, like the Phantom Menace, I think Williams does. I like the main kind of like Amidala, Anakin like score theme, and I like the kind of the score for the Clone Army as well. I think that those are good music cues. But it is a chore to sit through. It's like 2 hours, 20 minutes long or something like that, and that's just brutal.
Mm. How long is the next one?
I think it's about the same.
They're all of them, with the exception of Empire, are all plus 2 hours, aren't they?
No, actually, I think Empire is as well. Star Wars is literally like 118 minutes.
Yeah. Is it? I thought Star Wars was beyond 3 hours.
3 hours?
Sorry, beyond. I thought Star Wars was
No,
was
New
2
Hope
hours
is
plus.
like I literally a shade under 2 hours.
Ah. Yeah, I got 2 hours 5. As a listing time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith is, a little bit shorter than Attack of the Clones.
Hang about.
Yeah, Star Wars. I've got 121 minutes on Wikipedia and 105 on, what's it?
Okay, alright,
IMDb.
Fair enough then. A shade just over, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, 140 fucking... How long's the fucking new one?
It's about 2.25.
That's not too bad for modern fucking
it's
blockbusters.
just, like these days, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have enough to get me through this one. The Phantom Menace just about manages to pull me through, but this one, no. Fair enough, it doesn't.
It looks horrible as well.
The look of it is really bad. Just everything apart from the Amidala, some of the Amidala Anakin stuff. Everything's green screen, like brutally green screen.
It is, and it's that belligerence and insistence that this is the future from George Lucas that essentially has fucking ruined his movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's that shit's embarrassing, like straight up embarrassing. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what you think of Episode 3 because I don't think it's that bad. This only cost $115 million. I mean, I know it was only it was 13 years ago, but I don't know. It kind of feels weird that you're talking about a relatively recent Star Wars film that only cost $115 million.
Yeah, it is strange, but I suppose when your aesthetic is an episode of the Power Rangers, then I think you can get away with it.
That's a fair point as well. 136 minutes is the new one.
136. That's a reasonable amount of time, I suppose. On a modern blockbuster. I'm being again. I'm saying this every fucking week. I really hope I like Episode 3 in the same way as I really hope I get on with all of them. It's just this was beyond hard work. This was at one point I paused it and went, "Why's only 93 minutes gone by? What's going on?" It was painful to watch at points. I couldn't wait for it to end. I needed a pee for the last half an hour, and the reason why I didn't just pause it and go for a pee was, if I'd have done that, it'd have been extra time up until when it finished.
Well,
it's bad, and Hayden Christensen is terrible.
Yes, he is. Yes,
but I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I've from most people, I've always heard that the third of this prequel trilogy is the best of the three. So the only way he's fucking up.
I'm going to be very intrigued to see what you think of episode 3, because I think it's by far the best of the prequels. But it's also because it's by far the one where shit actually happens. And shit gets...
Well, that'd be nice. Shit actually happening would be fucking quite nice.
Have you ever seen episode 3?
I have, yeah. I saw it when it came out, but I paid it virtually no attention while I was watching it. Let's say I was in a room while it was on.
Okay, fair enough.
Is probably the best way I can describe it.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, definitely shit.
Definitely shit.
And let's move on to the Twitter questions, which I believe you have. Or do you?
I do, yes, give me 2 seconds, and I shall get them. Doop-a-doop-a-doop, phone's being ass. Right, Tom, at Mr. Tom Ripley. Shia LaBeouf, has anyone ever been so pretentious while simultaneously possessing so little talent?
I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. Sorry.
I quite enjoyed the just ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
Is the fact is that it takes somebody with incredibly broad shoulders who has taken as much shit as Shia LaBeouf has over the past few years to go, do you know what? I'm going to set up a live stream that is going to shoot my face as I watch all of my films back to back.
The thing is, I don't give a fuck what the point was. I really liked...
What was the point?
I really liked him genuinely enjoying Surf's Up. I thought that was amazing. And the kind of like him reacting with embarrassment at the Even Stevens film, I thought was actually quite sweet.
It was. There was some great kind of moments of looking at it where you actually... Because the thing is, you can't be... One of the things I've had a problem with Shia LaBeouf in the past is he seems to be on, and he seems to be playing up to the camera. You can't play up to the camera for that long, sat watching films. You can't control a natural reaction. The Even Stevens thing was quite amusing, the fact that he was clearly looking at embarrassed, but clearly kind of... It was in a nice kind of way. It was him clearly reflecting on something that was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it kind of made him more human, the whole thing, to be honest. It kind of, it takes away that whole kind of veneer of celebrity, and it makes you think this is just a guy watching himself kind of reverse age on screen. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I still think Shia LaBeouf's got a bit of a surprise comeback in him. Not for the next few years, don't get me wrong, but in 10 years' time, he's going to fucking crop up in something out of nowhere, and people are going to go, where did that come from?
You know what? He only did Fury last year.
You know, and he's perfectly good in Fury,
I mean, he's decent in Fury. Excuse me. He's a dick, but, you know, at the same time, it's stuff like this that's... Even if the concept of it's not very self-aware, I think watching his reactions to his stuff, I thought was really rather telling, and I have less of a problem with LaBeouf than I did this time last week. Good on him, to be honest.
The worst bit of it was the dickhead who spent a lot of time behind him, who essentially was dressed like Michael Pitt from that Gus Van Sant was it The Last Days, was it called? The not Kurt Cobain biopic, was dressed like that. Who goes to the cinema and wears fucking sunglasses? Somebody should have stabbed that guy in the face.
I could have done without quite so many. I went to the Shia LaBeouf blah 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 and wrote a piece about it.
Oh God, yeah. We don't. You don't need to live blog somebody's face that has been live streamed.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it and coming up with my own interpretations.
I enjoyed dipping in and out every now and again to see what film I was watching, and watched a little bit of it. I watched maybe in total 15 minutes of it.
Yeah, I was about the same, but good on him.
To be honest, but it was fun.
It was an interesting idea, and I hope he never talks publicly about it. I hope he just lets it lie.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. It would be, yeah. Ethan M. Barr, at Ethan Barr 2, if you could split your life into 3 acts like the Steve Jobs, which 3 moments would you choose?
Even though he later said he kind of realised that might be a bit too personal a question. Which
I think we can dance around the more personal
yeah,
issues.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought that when he tweeted it the first time, but you know, I like, I mean, wedding day Lottie was born. Well, the thing is, I mean, if we're talking about cinematic value, then I think the day I took a dump on someone's driveway when I was pissed, which ranks as one of my lowest moments in my life. The day, or the night, actually it was nighttime, that was, I should say. The night I ran down Corn Street in Bristol City Centre, waving a dildo in my hand and getting chased by police. That.
So you're going for the comedy version of your life, then?
Yeah. And then, I don't know, the day Lottie was born, I suppose, just as this is how someone progresses from being a fucking bellend to a man. I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Bear with me 2 seconds. What I'm trying to say. Becky's going out, so I'm just saying bye.
She's eating. He's eating.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Why are you whispering, Bex?
Shouldn't like been on what is it? Right. See you later, chick. Bye.
Bye, Becky.
Bye.
Love you.
Right, yeah, mine. All right, we'll go for comedy moments in mine as well then. The moment where I once woke up in an old man's garage in the morning. I didn't know how I got there, and he was mowing his grass at the time. And instead of being angry with me, he invited me in, made me a coffee, a bacon sandwich, and gave me a lift back into town. Whilst constantly laughing at the fact that I didn't know how I got there. Number 2, I can't say that one because it might get me in trouble. Number 2, yeah, will probably the for sheer cinematic value, the day that I proposed to Becky, where we saw a ring, and it was an antique ring, and I bought it, but we were both in town at the same time, so I had to go back to buy it, and she kept constantly asking me where I'd been and what I'd been doing and where I'd gone in that half an hour that I disappeared for and left having a coffee. And I was constantly trying to sort of batter off and saying, I did this or this or this, and I was just trying to think of really crap excuses, because I'd had it planned to propose to her that night in a restaurant. In the end, I just lost patience and proposed to her at a bus stop.
It's pretty solid.
And everyone clapped.
Really? Nice.
Yes, honestly, proposed at a bus stop, and it was a busy bus stop on a Saturday, and people stopped and clapped.
Pretty good.
So there was that, and what other one? Yeah, probably the day that Isabel was born. Just because we had one of the prenatal classes that night, the night before she was born, actually. And I got a pass for not going because England were playing in the Euros, in Euro 2004, and were playing Portugal that night. And at one point, whilst Becky was actually in labour, she actually turned around during the contractions and said, "Are you fucking seriously watching a repeat on BBC Two of the England match?"
Oh, mate, I don't know how much I would have been killed by Don if I ever tried something like that.
I was like, well, I did miss part of it because you came back from the postnatal class to tell me that they'd sent you home because you might be going into labour.
For fuck's sake.
So there was that. So yeah. Rich Kid, actually Rick Kid.
Can I just say, obviously, like, if I was being serious, my wedding day would be one as well. Like, obviously.
My wedding day would, except my wedding day went pretty smoothly, really. But the most probably cinematic moment of my wedding day was when my dad, asked the limo driver that we were in to pull over at one point and said, my dad said this to me, and my dad adores Becky.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah, this is funny. Sorry.
We're hitting a roundabout here. You can go left and get married, or we can go round it and come back, and nobody will think anything bad of you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is my dad, and he adores Becky. He likes Becky more than me. So, so that is my dad, and he's been married twice, and he doesn't agree with marriage.
Yeah, my dad. Oh my God, I'm assuming my dad didn't agree with marriage by the end. Jesus Christ, 3 fucking times.
It's that. So that would have been in mine, but that would have been that, which again would have been a comedy moment, and also the fact that I didn't pick up my wedding suit until the morning of my wedding.
Fucking hell, everything went pretty much without a hitch in mine, didn't it?
It did. It was wonderful. It was brilliant. It was a great day.
That was
the one amusing bit was where I think was it your mum or your sister that you couldn't find just before the wedding, and you were shouting, "Where's my?"
Yeah, it was my sister, and she was like literally sat right in front of me, wasn't she?
She was right in front of you, pulling the side of your suit. That was a great moment. Yeah, your wedding was wonderful. Yeah. It was a brilliant.
That was a fun day. So what's next? What we got?
Rick Kid, at Rich Dear Kid, Fassbender, Boyle and Sorkin is a movie dream team. If you're making your dream film, who stars, directs, and what is it about?
The thing is, right, Fassbender, Boyle and Sorkin is pretty much spot on for me. Maybe take out Boyle and put Fincher in there, but then, Social Network.
Yeah.
That's it really. Subject matter. Fuck.
See, my movie dream team would be getting Scorsese and De Niro back to do another organised crime flick that will get De Niro back on the fucking straight and narrow.
That's a good one. I would have liked, Ridley Scott was talking about, him and James Cameron teaming up to do an Alien film at some point. I would have liked to have seen that. You seen the fucking Alien, the Prometheus sequels had another fucking name change?
Oh, what's it called now?
Alien Covenant.
Oh, fuck off. Is that fucking Lindelof by any chance?
No. I think it was Scott said in some interview the other day.
He's been fucking whittling on about the fact that, why I changed Prometheus from being an Alien prequel to being a film of its own. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. I think that was that question answered anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'd go for. That.
Cool, man.
I think that is all of our questions. Yes, it is.
Sweet. Okay, so... Next week, as Mark mentioned earlier on, we are going to be doing Gaspar Noé's Love. Hunger Games is out in the cinema. As much as it's weird, I really like the Hunger Game films, and yet I've got no massive motivation to actually go and see Mockingjay Part 2 in the cinema. And I like those films. So I don't know what that is. I'm perfectly happy to wait.
It is strange how much the Hunger Games films have kind of... It's something now that people are just wanting to get out of the way.
They feel like they should have been done a long time ago, don't they?
It does. It feels like it's getting in the way. Like it's, alright, I'll watch you, but if I watch you, will you go away now?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we're going to do Gaspar Noé's Love instead, which will be interesting. It's on Curse on demand from Friday. So, I'm kind of hoping through Virgin Media they might offer a 3D version, because if they do, I'll stick it through my 3D TV. But we'll see. But yeah, that should be an interesting one. We'll also do episode 3, Revenge of the Sith as well. So I think that's about gonna do us, isn't it?
I think it will do.
Nice
yeah.
One. So I'm gonna go for a pee and watch the Strictly results. And
I'm not going to do that.
No, you're not. And that's going to do it. Thank you very much for listening, and bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for listening, guys.
Solid.
Cool as fuck. That's a fucking great episode.
Yeah, it was good.
Cool. Right, I am going to go and pee, and then probably have to let the dog out.
Nice. Is that a euphemism?
All right, bud. Right, I should speak to you soon.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.